Hello everybody, today we're in the garden again, and this video is about you, part 2. Now, the last video we were looking at who you were, actually what does that mean, and we were using an apple tree as a learning aid, and we decided that you were your hobbies, abilities, personalities, IQ, physical appearance, preferences, and fundamentally your imagination. And we decided that if we own all these within ourselves and we create a real world where being this person creates a good feel, we become actually quite abundant, because the real world values who we are and will look after us and probably pay us money, etc. So we decided that that's one reason why our apple tree has an apple, because we know who we are and we have created a real world that appreciates and values who we are. Therefore we are automatically abundant. So I thought that we can use the apple there as a little symbol of that. So who are we? Well, this is who we are, our characteristics. But of course, there's also other things that are part of you. And this video is about these other things as well. So what else is part of you? What else is part of you is your feel. Now, we've talked about this on other videos. And what you feel, based on who you are, you then feel. So if you're in a real world situation where who you are is someone who loves flowers and you're in a garden, then you will be able to feel and see those flowers, so you will have a good feel. Okay, so one part of you is your good feel, and we're going to use a bowl of water. If you just put it by the apple, great, to represent that is our oops-a-daisy. Whoops-a-daisy. We just pan out a bit. We represent our good feel. So could we just put the label back near the apple? Lovely assistant, thank you. So we are who we are, our characteristics, and we are how we feel about that in our real world. And at the moment we have a good feel about this, and because we've had a very lovely past, we have a good store of good feel energy, which is like water. Okay, so what else is part of us? Well, maybe in the past we've also had some bad feel, which means that some of our characteristics haven't been able to be shown very well in the real world, and we've had some minus feel scores, which makes us feel bad, and so that is part of who you are as well. So we can represent that by a bottle of sort of dark water, and we're going to talk all about this when we discuss power, because basically what power is, can we see that? Okay, there we are, that's bad feel. We experience that as grief. There are only two feels, bad, which is grief, or good, which is peace. Okay, now if we experience bad feelings in our life, which are created when we can't be who we are in a safe place in the real world, we might well store this grief in a bottle because we can't express it at the time. Now, this bad feel is stored because we might not have enough good feel to absorb it, right? And because of that, the bad feel hangs around and creates habits and all sorts of chaos in our mind, which we're going to talk about in a minute, okay? But who we are is who we are in characteristics, what our good feel is, and what our bad feel is, because it's all stored in us. So we're carrying this all the time, right? Now, what else is part of us? Well, how do we know what's going on? How do we know how we feel in the real world? Well, we need to use our brain. So if we just stick that little, that's right, somewhere near there. Now, our brain is really important here, because what our brain does is work out what actually the facts are, because we need to know this, don't we? Because if we know one of our characteristics is liking flowers, and the fact is we're in a garden with flowers in it, we are going to feel good. It's that simple. It's that simple. If we know who we are, I don't know, likes bananas, but the fact is we've been made to eat pears, that might make us feel bad. And if we have low power, we won't be able to express this bad feel, so we'll store it in a bottle. And that's kind of how it works, really. So we have who you are characteristics, we have your good and bad feels, and we have your brain, which is busy working out the facts in the real world, so your brain can calculate how you feel. So what else is you then? Well, of course, if that's the case, we need the real world, don't we? So the real world around us in this moment is who we are. Can you believe? So what does this mean? Well, this means, if you want to just put the things there, thank you. The real world is basically, maybe show them one by one there, is basically the food and water you drink, the environment you're in, and the people around you. So here we have some food, a chap who's around us, and our environment, which is a castle at the moment. So that's pretty good, assuming who we are can have a good feel about that. Now, given our real world and what's going on around us, our brain will work out whether or not that makes us feel good or it makes us feel bad. Right? So for example, this chap here, our doll friend, if they value who we are, our brain will say, right, the situation is we're with this chap today and he values who we are, he makes us feel good, then that will be a good feel score. But if this chap in our real world today, the fact is they're hitting us with a big stick, then obviously that's not making us feel good. We will have a minus feel score, and our bad feel will have another drop of energy into it, which will make us feel bad. Now, that is actually who we are. It's the facts plus who we are plus our feels plus our real world. That is who we are. Now, interestingly, if we have a predominantly negative, bad feel, what happens is that we can't actually hang around in this present truth, because our brain will tell us this is giving us too much bad feel, so we're not going to be in a present. We need some mind tick energy, because our being you energy is so low, because we can only have being you energy when we feel good, and the situation we're in is making us feel bad. So let's boot us into our mind so our mind can collect ticks. Now here's our mind here. So our mind is not who we are actually, but it is part of who we are if we have low power. And our mind, this is the plastic flowers, everyone. Do we all remember the plastic flowers? Our mind creates an illusion, and we cannot actually see what is going on in the real world. We see what we think is going on, what should be going on, etc. And our mind runs us to collect ticks, irrespective of what we feel, right? But we can talk about that more in other videos. But the point I'm making today is that your mind is not who you are, but it is, however, part of you, and very relevant when we have a bottle of bad feel, because our mind then is activated by our brain to go and chase ticks. Okay, it chases ticks because our energy is too low from being you. Great. Now, to summarize this, we have a little sheet that we can put to the side here, which I'm calling the truth. I'm going to read this out, and then I'm going to put it in front of the camera so you can you can look at it again. And we're going to put our heart-shaped stone with our rose that we've used in previous videos to illustrate the present moment. So our poor rose is getting very looking a bit dry there. There's a cat here, look, that's decided to join in the video. Hello, do you see? Hello. Let's there's a cat. There's a cat. Hello. Right, so that's just happening in the moment, and that's fine. So what is the truth? What is the truth? The truth is, this is right, sorry, what is the truth? The truth is what we have just discussed. Okay, that is the truth. This is different to everyone else's truth, of course, because everyone else has different characteristics, a different real world, and a different feel, right? So your truth is different to everyone else's truth. Your truth consists of your power energy store, that's your good feel, your bottles, that's your sad feel, who you are, that's your characteristics, and the facts in the real world now. That's the cat on the in the picture, but it's gone now, so the fact is there is not a cat here anymore. But that's worked out by your brain, okay? Your mind, the illusion, up here, your mind is a product of your bottles. That's from your sad feel, because what happens is your mind has to go and chase ticks, and your mind creates habits, posters, rules, all from your past, which are linked to your bottles, okay? The mind is not true. It's all to do with your past. However, sometimes though, your mind's reaction, because of pure chance, can actually reflect your truth. And when this happens, things like positive thinking and the law of attraction appear to work. If your illusion happens to correspond with your truth at that moment, then that will appear to work. However, it is not your mind that creates these events though. It is what you are doing and being in the real world. So you might think you are creating things in the real world, but actually you're not. What you are creating in the real world is all this sort of stuff, which is being who you are in a good space and looking at your environment and using your brain. If this happens to coincide with what you're thinking, great. If it doesn't coincide with what you're thinking, it will not work. This is why the mind creates an illusion, okay? And this is why the way to find your truth is to be who you are in a good space, making sure that you have a good feel, people value who you are, and then you'll feel very powerful. If that doesn't happen, you'll store sad energy in your bottle and your mind will start to run you because you'll need ticks. Okay, interestingly, if you meet someone in the real world who has a similar truth, you will recognize this. If you meet someone in the real world who's got similar characteristics or has got similar bottle and feel situation, whoops, there's a dog chasing the cat. There's a dog chasing the cat. If you meet someone in the real world who has a similar truth, you will feel like you connect with them. Right? There you go. So if we can just put this little sheet of paper on the stone there, I'll focus on that and you can read this at your leisure. Maybe pause the video. Whoops. Where's it gone? There we are. There we are. There we go. Thank you very much.